ask yourself, what is the thing that my spouse or my partner does for me that may not exactly be what I want, but it's the best of what they can give me right now?
Me now sitting here, I would say it's a deal breaker for me if my spouse goes out and cheats and everything. But me wearing that shoe at that point with everything happening around me, with what the Holy Spirit says, with the situation, I don't know.
You don't know that
what I would
it.
do. Before, I used to think I knew what I would do. Like I told you, I used to be that girl growing up when, friends are having issues with their dating and you're like, drop him. You say what? He didn't pick your call. Just pick your call. And I'm like, do this, X, Y.
Done.
Hi guys. Hi everyone. Welcome to a space where we're thriving and not just surviving.
Yes. How you guys doing?
How are you guys doing? Like it's been a minute. But I mean we saw them last week. So
but it still feels like we always feel like we've been away for a while. It feels I mean it's good to be back.
It's good to be back again. Your forever host.
Yes.
Welcome to Thriving Daily Podcast. I am Sophie.
And I am Ginika.
So how are you doing? I just want to say, I remember the last post we did, I saw a comment, that made me me giggle a bit. Somebody was like, this is slapping. Trying to say I feel it, right?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things. So when we started this, sometimes when we're having conversations, you got it right there.
Yes.
Like the same thing I'm dealing with. You hit it right on the nail. So to see somebody else say, it's slapping, I'm like, that's how I feel too.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we're having conversations, so I'm grateful that we have this platform to share those conversations with people, and then you can literally see that reaction too.
Then another comment too, the one I sent to you, that stood out for me was the lady who dropped a comment. I think I'll pop it up on the screen for those who are watching on YouTube. And she said that something about she can't remember, that she doesn't know how she's just finding us. And it made us smile, because the truth is that this journey is not easy. We both have very very busy lifestyle with the kids, the family, the husbands, the work. It's really busy. So once in a while when we see comment that lets us know that we're on the right path, it's kind of like very uplifting and encouraging. And thank you, whoever you are. We love you right back. So guys, today's topic, as always, we've been driven to this topic, and we want to go deep into everything that has to do with love, because this is like the center of everything we're doing. Christ is love, and everything we do in life, to an extent, either is reflecting love or is reflecting lack of love. So today's topic is about trying to really understand if love is really enough.
There's been a lot of talk about love online everywhere that I go, and thriving in life. You can't thrive without love, whether it's love from a significant other, your spouse, or whether it's love from your friends, your family, all of that too. And this show, I was watching this show called Love Is Blind, and I know you've seen it too, because I remember we talked about it a bit, right? And going online and seeing the kind of comments that's there, especially from young people, I was like, it's not all that superficial. Like, there's more to it. If somebody had told me years before, I have been married for 11 years, guys. 11 years. Like, sometimes when I even say it out, I'm like, what? Really? But
flies, though.
I have been married for 11 years, and if they had told me fresh out of college, university, when I came out of school, that was when I got married, and I was like 22 at that time. You could call me
married early.
You could call me a baby.
It's not as if it's too far. Mine was 24.
So 2 years. So, but you could call us babies, right? Because if somebody had told me now, the way I see love now is totally different. Like, I would literally see comments of people saying, oh my God, I knew that they connected butterflies in the tummy. Just, you could connect with people like that, right? But my point, and replying to certain comments, was that love is not that's not all love is, right?
Yeah.
There's so much more to love. So many things will come into play as you grow. You know, when the kids come in, when finances come in, when big decisions are being made, when you lose people, like there's so much more. But is love really enough?
I feel like a lot of, for me, speaking from my own perspective, I feel that a lot changes once you start having children. I know some people these days, I will not lie to you, like my heart gets broken when I see all these posts where there's this page I follow, the name is Wealth, and one of the posts they made recently was saying that statistics shows that millennials, that's people who are in their 30s, from the current statistics, that most of them or majority of the people prefer to have pets to having children. I'll forward the post to you. And in the comments, there were hundreds of comments, and most of them were saying, yes, so we're not here for trying to raise humans.
Wow.
That dogs and cats are more loyal.
Oh my God.
I'm not kidding. I was heartbroken. As much as I understand that at the end of the day you can't make people's decisions for them, but it just breaks my heart because but at the same time a part of me
so nobody
there were just a few people, but you can tell that majority was all for
where the yes are going.
So but the truth is that as much as I felt weird and a type of way about it, I also to an extent a part of me understands where some people were coming from, because I feel that a lot changed, speaking for myself, in my marriage from when I started having children. There were a lot of things I wanted to do. Maybe looking back now, I feel like maybe I should have waited 1 year, 2 years before having my first child. Because I feel like, first of all, there's more required of you as a person. Even the love you used to give your husband, it just naturally, it's not as if it reduces, but now your attention is divided between two people. The more it increases, that is the reason why they say as time goes, you realize that if you are not intentional, your chance of your marriage surviving is very low. And I feel like I understand now, because even that show that we talked about, there was a particular couple that like for me, for those who watched it, the case of Sabrina and Steven. When I saw them in the reunion, I was like, it's not possible. No,
there's something.
Maybe go back. Oga,
maybe
go back.
The chair is wet. She needed to move a bit, right, to adjust. She will go back there when they dry it. They need fan.
Oh my goodness! I was like, how did we get here? And I was like, they should hurry up and get to their part so that they will tell me why they're sitting apart. But then it still boils down to the topic of today, which is similar to what we're talking about. Is love really enough? Because I believe that most people, especially when the relationship is at that early stage, you're basically not seeing a lot of things in this other person. You're basically seeing them all lovey-dovey, all happy. You've not seen when the real life hits.
In real world,
You've not seen them when they go broke.
Yeah.
You've not seen them when they are faced with different pressures.
Yeah.
You've not seen them when maybe they applied for or tried to do a deal and it failed. You've not seen them when they wanted something and it went bad. You've not seen them when they were sick. You've not seen them as a parent for those who want to have kids. But different situations or different times in your life bring out different versions of you. How you really know if really you love that person is when you have been through all of these things and you still see yourself looking back and you're like, oh, this is my person. This is the person that I feel like I can like keep sticking with all through, regardless of the situation. But I personally do not believe that love would be really complete, or you can really say you love someone if you haven't been through the various seasons of life.
For me, I feel like a lot of people can talk. A lot of people have words. They can give you words. If it's words, some people are very good in words. But then follow up those words with your action. Not a lot of people can do that. So that's why sometimes when I watch the show Love is Blind, I'm like, it's cool, right? You can talk, you can rap, it's like writing lyrics. You can write lyrics, you can think of the things to say, especially when the person is giving you can give back, those kind of things. But in the real essence of it, when it comes to matching up the action, with that word, it's very difficult. And one thing I know, being married now 11 years, I know that the beginning of a stage, those butterflies you feel in your tummy when you meet someone for the first time, the way the person makes you feel, the way the person talks, it's okay. It's still like an attraction. So whether you're doing it behind a wall or you're doing it face to face, I feel like it's still like an attraction, right? But then as you grow, as the attraction grows, as you build, as you take one's foot in front of the other to being engaged or married or caught, all of that, then you start to discover things about the person. Right? Sometimes the best marriages that work, sometimes are opposite attract, right? Sometimes it's the same, similar people, like that share the same values, share the same things and everything. But one thing that show has continued to show people time and time again is that love is not enough. And I'm talking of the initial stage of love, because the deeper part of love, right? The love that comes with agape love and eros love mixed together is the love that lasts, because now it supersedes any superficial thing. It supersedes the butterfly you feel in your tummy. And that's one thing I feel like people should take away from that show, because sometimes I see people's captions and they're like, oh, they can't wait to meet somebody and feel like that and everything. And in my head, I'm like, you might be disappointed if that is your own version of love that you meet, right? God is love. God has told us to, love our neighbors as ourselves. Some people can't even give love to their next neighbor, right? Then, they expect something superficial like that, and they're so in love. But time and time again, when we watch certain things play out, we see how some people, like, I feel like, so how I put it is that love backed with will, right, is what is enough, or is what would take you to experience the deeper love or agape love or eros mixed together, right? Because we see people that are willing to go that extra mile, that are willing to sacrifice against all odds, right? How they continue to make it, or how they maybe after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, they're still married and all of that. Because I'm sure it happened to us. My husband, I knew him, I would say I knew him a while, right? I knew him for maybe like 2 years before or 3 years before we got married, right? But it's not like we were dating all that while, but I knew him as a friend first before we got married. So I won't say I experienced the butterflies immediately, right? Because it was a friend, but this person wanted something else, but you were not ready for it and all of that too. But there are people I experienced that initial butterfly with, and it never turned into, they did something bad, they cheated, or all of those kind of things, right? But I feel like time and time again it shows us that first initial thing that we call love is not love. It's attraction, and deciding or having that will to go from there because of something about this person that makes you feel that kind of way, or have that emotional connection, or something else is pushing you and saying, okay, go, right? It can either be God, it depends on your relationship with God, or it can either be you willing to see the next steps or how far it goes, right? And willing to try.
For me, is one of the things that kind of like throws me, or rather always scared me about relationship, was the unknown, right? Especially around that period where you're kind of like about to say I do. I remember that when my husband proposed, my emotions were all over the place. You think that I'm crying because I'm so in love. I was not crying because I was so in love. But yes, I did.
Him.
You know what I mean?
Don't watch this episode. Don't watch it.
You know, the thing is, I did love him. I rather, from my own standpoint, idea of what I knew about love. I did love him. But there was more of the fear of what will happen tomorrow. What if what I'm thinking exactly. Of course, my relationship with God as it is now is not what it was then. So then I wasn't even sure if this thing I'm hearing is the right thing, or maybe it's my mind telling me that. And also, just like you, the person I was supposed to, or I thought I was going to end up with, was not the person I ended up with. So there were a lot of things that happened that you're like, oh, it's almost like maybe this thing that they say all men has come, maybe it's real, maybe it's, a lot of nasty thoughts came to my mind that really put me in that place where I was really scared. But I feel, which is still similar to what you just mentioned, the only thing that explains, or the only way I would sum up love, if you ask me, is that love is sacrifice. I feel that if you haven't been through situations that allow you to, or that allows you to see if you're really willing to sacrifice for this person that you claim to be in love with, then you can't really tell what exactly you feel. Because up until when they are in a situation where they've upset you so much and you can't even believe that this is the person you settled for, but you still see yourself putting aside that feeling to be there for them. You still see yourself putting aside that thing. Because one of the things I see with a lot of failed relationships or failed marriages is that it got to a point where one party just couldn't keep up with that anymore. You find, I've heard about a case where one of the things that, I don't know if the marriage eventually broke, but it was at the verge of breaking, was something about toothpaste. I don't know if I ever gave you that gist. I don't know if I gave you that gist.
No,
it was about toothpaste, and this is a true life story. It's not something I read.
Somebody has said, I've heard that.
It might be when I told you about it. It's possible. So it was a case where a man and a woman, they were married, and the man is very carefree, very all over the place with his own version of being organized, and all. The woman is all this, keep this here, don't touch this one, arrange it, if you take this one, keep it back. But now, meeting somebody who is direct opposite of you. So in this case, the man would use the toothpaste. And you know how toothpaste is. He will press it from the middle.
They should come and see my husband press toothpaste.
Don't come and now watch this episode.
Don't show him this video.
Oh my goodness, I can't even laugh.
You know what? If he doesn't come back and ask me about it, I'll know that you know what this podcast. So I know that you're not supporting me.
Oh my god. Ah, God. So that case, the man will come and press the toothpaste from the middle. The woman hates it. She's like, you have to press it from the bottom all the way to the top. The man does not see, like, it's toothpaste.
Yeah, like, coming not that deep.
What's the point? Do you know this thing started, like, every now and then the woman will complain. The man will say, okay, I'll do better next time. Every new time, the man will still go back and do the same old thing that the woman didn't like. And that's how one day, the woman had to talk to her. She said she's done.
Toothpaste.
From toothpaste, argument started, quarrel, it escalated. Like, as at the point when I was hearing about the story, the marriage was at the verge of ending.
Wow.
So you find that we would say, when you say sacrifice, you think it's when they say donate your kidney.
Yeah.
Like, literally, this thing goes down to the very minimum. Like the things that you would never suspect would be an issue. And that's the thing I find, or I feel, that happens in marriages. The devil looks for the very little loophole. The devil always is looking for what is the tiny loophole. Yeah. Even in marriages, in relationships, people who are, thinking of settling together and all of that. That loophole, I'm telling you, if you allow it, one of the biggest, one of the biggest issues I ever had in my marriage to date started based with something very minute. Oh, help me do this, help me hold baby. And then from there, this issue just escalated. Like, the truth is that when you sit back and look in hindsight, you will never believe that was what even ever could have led to that kind of big issue. So if you're not willing to go through those seasons of sacrifice, I don't think you're even ready to be married.
Yeah.
You're going to be, me, I used to be back in UNN, I used to be that girl who I would arrange all my perfumes, all my deodorants, all my cream,
everything,
and you name in order, like this. The shortest in front, the next level. Sophie, if you come to it was like that, the roll-on short, next like this. Now,
you order.
Now, I tried
to maintain.
Try to maintain. And you're not sharing it with somebody. It was not even possible. Like every time. And do you know what happened? I find that each time I'm trying to insist, it has to be like this. This is what it's supposed to be. I know my point is right. Like, of course, what I'm telling you is the right thing, but the other person is not understanding. He's not understanding what you're saying. It's almost like, is this one that is the thing that's bringing quarrel? But you know, you want your house to be in order. You want this one. Now, it's even worse now that the children are there. You will keep jewelry. My 7-year-old daughter will go and carry it and say, Mom, next time you see her coming out with your handbag. Like,
that's true.
Something that me, I finish arranging, how I'm going to use it, how I'm going to... what is this? You find that it becomes impossible. And that tells you that if you allow those little things... There was one lady that I watched her post a few days ago. Like, it's almost like I wanted to hug her through the phone.
Wow.
And she was saying that one thing that has sustained her marriage was one advice her grandma gave her. That her grandma told her, similar to this thing we're talking about, that one day they went to the grandma's house for like a Thanksgiving or something like that. So the grandpa came to the kitchen. He used like bread knife, and after using it, dumped it on the countertop. Meanwhile, the sink is right there. So the girl noticed it, but she didn't say anything. Later on, her grandma now went to the sink, picked up the knife from the countertop, put it in the sink and washed it and put it where it was supposed to be. So the daughter was like, why are you the one washing? Why are you not calling him to come back? The mother said, in marriage, you have to pick your struggle. You have to pick your fight. You cannot fight and argue over every single thing, because you know that this is how this man, or rather this is his behavior. It doesn't make you right. But if you keep choosing to fight over it every single time, that means in a day you're going to fight like maybe 20 times, because you turn left, you see that he has used plate and left it on the countertop. You turn right, he has used toothpaste and dumped it on the
he has flogged the shoe. Flogged the shoe.
Here you see boxer. You have to choose your fight. You have to choose the things that are worth fighting for. You have to choose the ones that today I just choose to ignore. You have to also decide, because if you expect perfection from the other person, that relationship cannot survive.
So you know, like I've asked one of my aunties one time, I was like why is it that nobody has a conversation with us like deeply, like when we're young about to get married? Nobody really has a deeper conversation with us about what marriage really entails. And she was like, it's something that you have to learn or go through yourself. Right. It's not something that, we can put words to. I said, okay, yes, I understand, because being in it, I've seen it, right? But if I was to have a conversation with my daughter, I would have things to say about love. Like, it's not just the feeling. Like, honestly, getting married at 22, I did not know what love was. I had no clue. I mean, everybody, even people young now, is what you're seeing on TV informs your idea of love, right? I've always had a very strong sense of purpose, a very strong sense of who I am or what I wanted. A strong sense of, chasing God, or, I was born for something bigger, right? So I knew that decisions I was making in my life would affect where I'm going or where I felt God was taking me to, right? So that was part of the reason why I got married. It was not like I would say I was, head over heels rolling on the floor in love. Yes, I was in love in my idea of love that time, because I met someone that, is different from every other person that I have met. Was just so kind and nice and loving. No matter what I did, I used to carry fire on my head. Like, carry fire on my head means that what, like, I was that girl that I was up and doing. I knew what I wanted. I won't take nonsense from anybody, and all that too. I held my own and all of that too. So meeting someone that still could put up with that, like, I would sometimes scream and excuse me, that leave me, like, and then he'll still be like, coming, and he was just so nurturing, so kind and everything and all that. That was one of the things that informed my decision to decide to even give this person a chance, right? And then when he proposed, and I was like, okay, I accept and everything. And me accepting was my strong sense of purpose. I knew that where God was taking me to, apart from my uncle's advice, because I have an uncle, that when I go to meet him for advice, he gives the best advice. He's so knowledgeable, he's so well read and all of that too. So I had a conversation with him. Well, after accepting the proposal, I had a conversation with him and he was like, Sophie, I look at you, you're so ambitious, you're so driven, you're so this. Like, I feel like if you don't do it now, if you don't get right now, settle down, get that out of the way and chase your purpose and chase the things you want to do, you might never get to do it. And when he said that, I sat with that, I prayed, and funny enough, the next Sunday I went to church and then pastor was saying something similar about that. And it was like, if you have like a marriage proposal or something and you're unsure, you know, pray. So I wrote it down as a prayer point. I put it on the altar and like, I'm so young, I have so much that I feel I need to accomplish. Do I think it's the right time? You know, all of that too. And I asked God for a sign if I was supposed to do that, and the sign came. The sign came. So me having that strong sense of purpose, I knew that my relationship was not as deep as it is now with God, but I knew that was the path I was supposed to take because there was something more. But I didn't understand what love was. I just felt like, oh yeah, you like someone, right? So like someone, that's enough, that's love. But right now I know that that's not love. Being married, love is, like you said, sacrifice. Love is giving up on your own wants, your own needs, your own idea. Like, having kids would break down love in one human form. It would define love in a human form. You're looking at that baby and you literally could give up your job for that child. You literally could fly to the ends of the earth for that child, you know. And it sort of made me understand or appreciate the love that God has for us too. Right? Because some things will happen, right? I remember when I first had my daughter and I was reading about SID, SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, all those kind of things, right? So I would quickly, and they'll teach it when you're doing your antenatal, right? So I remember putting my child to sleep and I'll quickly rush to the room and I'll peep. Oh, she's okay. The bedsheet's not covering, the nose, everything's open, and I always do that. And I just heard it softly in my ear. I just heard God say, you know, that same Bible verse that says, if God takes care of the lilies, if God takes, how much more? I heard it in my voice say, you see the way that you're, you know, worried, you're always going to check up on your daughter, every little thing, is she okay? I love you so much more than that. Right? Like, I love you so much more than that you cannot imagine. And it just started to open. I think that was one of the things that opened that gateway for me to search for, and again, for that relationship with God and chase that love, because I was like, love is so much more. Love is against your own self. Love is giving up on yourself, on your own wants, on your own needs. And I think marriage and having kids has been one of the deciding factors in me saying yes and believing and obeying God. Now, a lot of some people, I see things that, you know, I see online, and then I read it and I just smile, because you have to get to that point where you're willing to let some of the things you want go for the sake of another person. And then you know that you have crossed that bridge to even getting closer to the thing that Jesus told us, love one another, love your neighbor, the mission he gave us. You will know you're not even there, but you're getting close to it. But I see comments sometimes online when topics about marriage. I know we might have another, you know, different topic, talk about marriage and everything, relationship, but I see comments when people talk about marriage. I see people say, oh, why should I sacrifice myself? Oh, why should I do this for the man? Oh, this is a no-brainer. This is a, what they call it now, there's the word I'm looking for, non-negotiable in marriage. As soon as I'm not saying like there are big things that when people do, of course, deal breakers, you know, that you can't take, you know, domestic violence, you know, cheating, all those kind of things, even like abuse, verbal abuse, all those kind of things. But I'm saying that there are tiny things, just like what you said about the toothpaste and all of that too. But I see the minute things that people comment and like, we've gotten to a point, and I'm not surprised because the Bible said, you know, in the end times we're going to see the love of brothers who wax cold. How much more the lovers of the love of married people or people that don't even know themselves, right? But I see certain things people say, why should I give up that? Why should I sacrifice this? Like you said, I'm not having kids. I prefer animals and everything. Like, we're sort of going backward, you know, from that point of love, from that point of duty, from that point of fellowship and togetherness and community and, you know, loving one another
the way Christ.
Yeah,
honestly, like, it's a very broad topic because there are just so many dimensions to it.
Yeah.
And when I think about everything that has to do with, like, even the whole love between man and woman, and, you know, I find that love has suddenly become transactional. Most relationships now, it's almost like if you remove the physical things, the money, the comforts, everything that, you know, makes you feel good in this marriage, the true question remains, what are you left with? Are you going to still be here? Are you going to still want to go in every day and be happy? Are you going to still want to make the marriage work? Because the reality is that even with you and the man, everybody is enduring something.
Yeah.
And up until the day one person chooses not to endure something anymore, it all depends. Like, I mean, just like you've mentioned, we're not talking about domestic violence or saying, oh, when you're being abused verbally or all those very, you know, intense things that obviously are enough reasons for a marriage to be, you know, at risk. I'm talking about the basic things. I'm talking about being able to, you know, there was this thing you're talking about how the world today, like, a lot of people have a very vague understanding of what love really means. You see, even in the last was it the last episode of Love is Blind? I don't remember, but one of these shows, one person was talking about how she can't be with somebody who is not tidy. I understand it. I am telling you that if you're a very tidy person and you meet someone who is the opposite, it's difficult. It's very difficult. It's not even something that somebody can just tell you, oh no, don't worry. No, it's something that when you experience it, that's when you're actually going to know the real deal. But the question there is that really enough for you to choose to maybe walk away from a relationship? If you really did claim to love that person. A lot of the things that we see today, I feel like if we really take honest statistics of you know, people's opinion that are in relationship, heading to marriage and stuff like that, the truth is that you're going to be amazed that if you remove all the things, if you remove the money, if you remove the gifts, the flowers, all of these things that make you happy, you will find that a lot of people will not want to remain in that place. But that is also one thing that brings me to one thing that I feel maybe one day we're going to have it as a topic, but how important it is for women to also have a life outside of that relationship
and marriage.
Have a life. Because one of the things I do for myself once in a while is I ask myself, Kinika, is there something you really need right now? If, for example, I'm feeling like, oh, I need a new perfume, as much as, yes, sometimes I would want my husband to be the one to buy it, it doesn't mean that if he's not ready to buy it for me now, it's supposed to affect anything. It wouldn't, because I would comfortably walk to Sephora and buy myself a perfume. Right? And I'll be happy. As much as sometimes you want to, you know, also expect those things from your spouse, I feel the need that sometimes give it to yourself. Because the issue also that I see in a lot of relationships is there are a lot of unrealistic expectations. Yes, what you see your friend's husband do for her may not be what your own spouse is capable of doing for you. It may be okay, it may be nice, it may be cute, you may love that designer shoe, you may love all of those trips. It may not come to you the way the person gets it in their own relationship.
The same way.
You have to understand that it is you and your spouse. It's so deep because even it goes all the way down to communication. If you do not talk about the things that matter to you, and when you're talking about them, also be open to accepting reality. In some cases, for example, you may be married to somebody who does not have the financial capacity to give you all of those fancy things. he may have been able to give it to you before you got married or before your relationship got to the point where it is. But maybe circumstances or his responsibilities, increased, and he may not be able to keep up with that aspect. The truth is that if all of those superficial things were the reason you entered that relationship or that marriage in the first place, you'll find out that you'll get to the point where you are almost all of a sudden not interested.
Yeah.
Because the things you thought were going to be add-on, there's no add-on. There's no add-on. It's like
there's subtraction.
There's subtraction. Because I feel that it's so important that amidst everything happening, you yourself ask yourself, what makes me happy? What can I do for myself?
Yeah.
Because the heartbreak starts with you expecting this person to meet up with this.
Yeah.
And I would always say it's very important that people, men and women, ask yourself, what is the thing that my spouse or my partner does for me that may not exactly be what I want, but is the best of what they can give me right now?
Yeah.
For example, a lot of time people ask me and say, oh, maybe when I used to have clients, people say, okay, can we use with your baby? And I'm like, oh, my husband is around. Sometimes I see the reaction. And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, they won't want to say it. But I've also had a lot of women tell me straight up that they cannot leave baby with their husband. As much as I understand that different people are at different places in their relationship and their marriages, but those are the things I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
If I ask for a brand new whatever phone now, he may tell me later or whatever the case may be, or do it whenever it's convenient for him. But I have to also remind myself that I'm getting something that is way more than what money can buy. Because if you base your relationship based on the way you have seen it on social media, social media, which is one of our first topics, is not reality. What you're seeing there, a lot of people are not showing you the truth. Some people will buy themselves the bag and claim and say, oh, surprise,
flower, everything.
Like, and you will be there killing yourself. This man, stupid man, idiot, use all the wrong words on him, and your words are constantly adding negativity to his life. My point in all of this is you have to ask yourself, sit down and take inventory of the things that your partner has been doing for you. There are times that your partner is there helping you pick you have picked his brain, you pick everything inside his brain, you have picked it and you have put inside your business. You have picked everything. Babe, what do you think? He will give you an idea. Babe, this, another thing, some people too appreciate the presence. There are people whose your spouse may not be buying you the expensive fancy stuff, but maybe giving you like that attention. Emotional support. When you're like me, was it not yesterday morning? I just woke up, I was just overwhelmed. I don't know why I was overwhelmed. I wasn't overwhelmed until I'm too busy but emotional. I just started crying. My husband was just there. I just hugged him and I felt better. But the point is that a lot of times you just do not even understand the power or how big of a deal it is to have someone who is present. For some people, you see, maybe they are getting the gift, but they do not get that emotional support. Some people are getting all the gifts, but you have to deal with somebody who has 3 women other than you. So it's up to you to choose your struggle. Choose the thing you want to be grateful for, and choose the thing you want to constantly complain about. At the end of the day, you are not perfect. You don't have, nobody's a full package. I don't believe in that thing. Nobody is a full package. It's either you're dealing with somebody who is kind, who is nurturing, who is present, but does not have the money to give you fancy stuff. Or you're dealing with somebody who has the money, but you're hardly seeing them. They're hardly there. When you need somebody to talk to, they're hardly there. They're always busy. They're hardly, even when they're present, they're not present. So you have to choose where you want to be. Sometimes you just can't get it all. But even if you don't have it all, it will be good to have it all. But if you can't get it all, reduce your expectations. Fill the gap for the things that you know you can do for yourself. Do not overly put all your expectations on a human being. That person is human. That person is human. Whether it's a man listening to this and is a woman in the, so whatever the case may be, that person is human, and it's one thing I remind myself every day. Sometimes when I want to say, oh, why did my husband do this, I remind myself, you didn't do some things. Are you beating yourself up the way you are trying to do? And it calms me down. I remind myself that no, okay, he didn't do it, talk about it. That is also another thing. People need to talk about the way they feel. I've been around too many married people a lot of times, maybe based on the nature of my job and all of those things. A lot of times, when we talk about things that have to do with relationship and love and all these things, the first thing I will say, did you talk to him about it? You hear things like, oh, no. But then you can't also blame some people. A lot of people have tried to talk, but it has not yielded any results.
People need to be honest with themselves, like you said, right? And that's the reason why so many times you see people say, before you venture into marriage, you have to do the work on yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to sort of have an idea of who you are, right? When I got married, I was young, but I knew who I was, sort of. Something happened to me at a very young age. I lost, people that were very dear to me. And it's sort of, maybe, another time we'll talk about it, but it's
whenever you say that, I feel somehow.
Why?
I don't know. The first time I found out, would I say I felt pity for you? For the first time,
most people
I felt pity for you.
Most people feel pity.
I felt pity, and it made me feel sad. And I started asking, how are you this strong?
Yeah, I lost both of my parents, yes.
And Sophie's an orphan, in case you don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, I'm an orphan, yeah. And I don't say often, and I don't even feel it anymore because my mom's sister took care of us, right? And so she covered us with that love, and even my mom's like siblings and all of that too. They took care of us in a way that, not everybody that has experienced what I have experienced, will go through and all that. So sometimes when I say it doesn't hurt me as much as it used to before, right? But when I lost both of my parents at a young age, I built this kind of, armor, I would say, around me, that, I was forced to kind of find who I was, right? I started asking God questions like, why my parents? Why me? Why this? Was there something I did? Was this as a small girl that I didn't understand, right? Was there something I did? Was it me? Was it this? So on going on that journey and discovering, I started knowing, I would say it's the Holy Spirit, because I didn't know, I couldn't put a name to what I was conversing with or talking to, but I knew it was the Holy Spirit now that as I'm older. So finding that, I created this sort of armor around me, like, I know who I am, I'm sure of who I am, I don't need your love, to make me feel validated or whatever. So that's why when I was young, people used to feel, especially when I see girls my age, shy, dating guys and everything, I'm feeling some type of way. Me, I'm strong, I'm like, what, if he doesn't do this, drop him. If he doesn't, like, I'm already there, I'm like, yes, I'm giving the eye, like, if he doesn't do this, drop him, like, it's not what it is, not this, it's not that, hard girl, but now,
taught you a lesson.
Yes, that taught me a lesson. I had to be hard, I had to be strong. So for my husband to even get to a point where he has melted, I won't even say whether it's my husband that melted that armor or that thing that I built around myself. I would say, it's my husband, but God too, and the help of the Holy Spirit, because I don't think you can do marriage without God.
It's not even possible.
You cannot have marriage without God, because you have to get to a point where you're loving beyond yourself. And you don't have that power. When we were born to this world, all these superficial things, all the things we think we want, we need, all the things that if they take out of marriage is the money, the flexing, the traveling, the trips, and all of that, the shopping sprees, what would you have? So you need substance, and I feel like that substance you can only get from God, right?
Yeah, it's like what you're saying is just spot on, because I feel that a lot of people's marriages or a lot of relationships are standing on its own. There is no Christ as the solid foundation, and I had to learn this. You know how you already knew something but you didn't know it?
Yeah.
And when I entered marriage, I thought, I knew about how you should put God first in your marriage. I didn't know it.
Yeah.
It's when reality will knock you down to your knees that you will realize that, man, like, it's not, you need the Holy Spirit. There were times where I would be so confused. I'll be like, why does it have to be so complicated? Like, you would not understand until you experience it. So I someone can even relate to what your aunt told you about how there's like marriage is something you have to experience yourself, no matter what someone tells you. And it makes it worse because no two marriages are the same. What one person is telling you about how it works for them will not be how it would work for you in your own home. And I feel like the worst thing that people would allow happen to their marriages or their relationship is to allow themselves to try to do it on their own. If you ever try to do it on your own, you will be so frustrated. You will ask yourself, like, is this even worth it? And the truth about it is that as much as a lot of people, or it's common now, especially in the world of today, to be divorced and all of these things. Yes, some people have had good reasons for their divorce and all of that. But the truth is that the way it is trending, it's sending the wrong information. A lot of people are not even wanting to try
at all.
It's almost like the moment this happens, boom, I'm out. Yes, people, like, everyone has what their deal breaker is. Like, everybody has that thing that is like, there was a particular TikTok trend that was going on. I think it was last week. It wasn't even a trend, but a lady was sharing her story. So in her situation, all of a sudden, in the middle of her marriage, she was pregnant. Her husband left with another woman. And she was now hearing...
She was pregnant, first child?
Yes, she was pregnant with the child. I don't know if it's first child. And she was hearing gist from people that the guy has moved in with the girl. They're living together and everything. All through that period, she was basically praying and all of that. And along the way, she eventually got to the point where she was going into labor. And she called her mom. I don't think her mom knew that the husband was not at home anymore. So she called her mom. Her mom was like, I was like, let me say, for example, if the guy's name is Mr. A. I said, oh, where's Mr. A? Where is he? Before she could even say Jack, the mother has already called Mr. A and said, oh, wait, your wife is in labor. Yeah, I'm going to the house now to meet her. Meet me at the hospital. That's how somehow the man he came. So to her, the Holy Spirit delivered her marriage by him coming to the hospital.
Really?
Yes.
Did they get back together?
Eventually they got back together, but it brought a lot of uproar, like on TikTok. A lot of people were like, so you're trying to tell me that God saved your marriage by you being a second person, and that the man is still, because in this story she was still saying about how sometimes the man will still leave and then eventually he will come back, but now that their marriage is saved and everything. There were a lot of comments, like a lot of people had to repost and do a video. A lot of people had to do videos, like reaction video. That's what it's called. Thank you. Because that's how I saw the post. Like, it was everywhere. Some people will even be sarcastic and be like, oh, it's good to stand with God in your marriage. And it got me thinking.
You won't know till you're in the shoes.
It got me thinking, like, and then Sophie, I want to ask you, do you have a deal breaker for you in your marriage? Is there something that is a deal breaker that, God forbid, it will not happen?
I'm dancing.
Is there something that, if you, based on, let's not even say based on our Christian version of ourselves, but let's say based on the way you are a human, is there something that you feel you cannot manage in a marriage?
So I don't walk in my own power.
Yes.
Anymore.
Yeah.
But in my own power, deal breaker, that thing that happened to the lady is a deal breaker. You cheat, is done. That's it. Forget my name, forget my children's name, forget everything that you know. That's me in my own power.
Your human nature.
But in my human nature. And then sometimes I remember my sister asking me questions. She was like, I said, the way the person reacts to when you catch them in that act or that thing would inform your decision.
Right.
Me now sitting here, I would say it's a deal breaker for me if my spouse goes out and cheats and everything. But me wearing that shoe at that point with everything happening around me, with what the Holy Spirit says, with the situation, I don't know.
You don't know that
what I would do. Before, I used to think I knew what I would do. Like I told you, I used to be that girl growing up when, friends are having issues with their dating and you're like, drop him. You say what? He didn't pick your call. Just pick your call. I'm like, do this. X1.
Done.
But now, having grown to the woman that I am, having my kids, trying to be a good example, working with God, loving beyond myself, beyond my power, sacrificing, all these things that love means to me. I don't know what I would do, but that's the deal breaker for me.
That's the
Humanly speaking, that's my deal breaker for me. And then like domestic violence, touch hits every day. That's a deal breaker. That one, I think even the Holy Spirit will say, my dear, you need to move out. They not kill me for you have purpose. Your purpose, I need you to still
be alive for it.
But so those two are like a no for me, right? Verbal abuse, domestic violence. That one, cheating,
because I feel that that's humanly speaking, I feel that I'll just be imagining you with the other woman, those kind of things, like
all the sweet nonsense like you tell me in my ear, all the conversations we have, all the call me daddy. This session is just for married folks.
Married folks only.
Married folks only. Close your ears, plug it up. I get what you mean. Like it's painful.
At the end of the day, if I'm to say it, same thing applies. Like I feel like in that moment, I don't know what. Before now, I'm like never. But I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know. God forbid it will never get there. God forbid.
Yeah.
You guys, this topic we could stretch it on and on and on because it's really broad.
Yeah.
You guys always remember that we are in the comments. We want to know more on what you want us to talk about.
And we'll do a part 2.
Yes, there'll be a part 2.
There'll be a part 2 of this.
Yes, because we haven't like gone deep into this because there's so many dimensions.
Marriage, relationships, all of that too. Yeah.
So you guys, let us know what your biggest takeaway from this episode was. And if you did enjoy it, please leave us a thumbs up. And do not forget to subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube.
Yeah.
And please leave us a comment and let us know your biggest takeaway.
Yes. And let us know, is love really blind?
Yes, let us know. Let us know.
Yeah, from my own aspect, love is blind to the things you're supposed to. Yeah, exactly. You sacrifice. When you sacrifice, it's blind. But when the other session, I don't know. But let us know.
Let us know in the comments, guys. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye.